Okay, hello and welcome everybody to Canberra, the capital of Australia. It is a wonderful luxury destination. First of all, we're going to watch a video about just one of our luxury products, Jamala Wildlife Lodge. Let's have a look at what's available there.
Jamala is the ultimate luxury experience. Guests arrive and they'll have a beautiful high tea set up for them, and then they'll go out on a 90-minute guided tour around the zoo, which gives them an introduction to our beautiful zoo. Dinner that night is also included with beverages and a full a la carte breakfast the next day. They have full access to the zoo for 2 days of their visit as well. We have 18 different lodges. We've got our beautiful jungle bungalows. These rooms have lions, tigers, sun bears, cheetahs outside the room. We've got our gorgeous giraffe tree houses. These ones are located on the edge of a giraffe enclosure. And then we've got rooms in our gorgeous Ushaka Lodge that have meerkats, Coochie monkeys, our big reef tank. So it's really special for our guests to hear that their money is going back into the zoo, into breeding programs. This is something that is one of a kind. Having an opportunity to wake up with a lion at the end of your bed roaring throughout the night, there's just nothing like it.
There's certainly nothing like waking up with a lion roaring next to your bed. And Jamala is, I would say, the feather in our cap in Canberra. It's a wonderful luxury destination. From a local perspective, we have people that save up for a long time just to go there for their 50th birthday or a wedding anniversary and so on. It's a romantic destination. It's also an educational experience for families and very, very popular with international tourists and regularly booked out. So looking at Jamala, this is one of the places that you can stay. However, there are others, and we'll have a look at those in just a moment. This is the giraffe room, and apparently that giraffe visits all the time. It will pester you for attention, so that's certainly a wonderful part of your stay at Jamala. It would be hard to pick which room you want, but certainly giraffes would be my favourite. Let's have a little bit of a think about Canberra. It's actually the capital city of Australia, so it's halfway between Sydney and Melbourne, and it's in a really natural wilderness in world-class nature. It's actually known as the bush capital. It's centrally located and it's just a 1-hour flight from Sydney or Melbourne. And it's got an excellent positioning as a luxury destination because it offers what other cities really can't offer. That's an easy pace, certainly a very positive attitude, the people that live here in Canberra. It's small enough to be something that you can see in a weekend, or it's certainly, scratch the surface on a weekend. The location, of course, very close to other major cities and enjoying the absolute best of what a city can offer in a nature-based setting. Summary there of 7 points or 8 points that sum up why Canberra is a great place to visit. As I said, short distance away from other hubs, and it's connected by plane, train, bus and quality roads for those that choose to self-drive. It's a city that does everything well. There's a real sense of indulgence. And it's also a carefully designed city. Canberra was purpose-built to be the capital of Australia. Now we carry on that purpose-built feeling with sustainability. Everything that we do has to have a sustainability focus because we were rated the most sustainable city in the world. We're known for lots of untouched, clean and accessible nature spaces, really just a stone's throw from the centre of town. And it embraces diversity and it's very family friendly. It's also great all year round. There's 4 distinct seasons with matching festivals or experiences to go with them. And it's a great add-on if you're going to Sydney or Melbourne. It's a perfect weekender destination. So 2 to 3 days, 3 days is great, will allow you to really take in all of those wonderful experiences, a lot of them luxury. And as I said, a self-drive opportunity means that you can get to the snow or the coast within just a couple of hours. This is where the ACT is. So Canberra is the capital of Australia, and that is the Australian Capital Territory. You can drive for 3 hours from Sydney, and there's direct flights from all major Australian cities. It's part of a wider region, so it's right near the coast. It's about 2 hours drive from the coast and 2 hours drive from the snow. More than 70% of the Australian Capital Territory is national parks or nature reserves. So when we say it's the bush capital, it's a city surrounded by nature. And these days, for me, that's exactly what I'm looking for when I travel. We're going to look very quickly at 8 luxury experiences. So I've already shown you Jamala. As a once-in-a-lifetime experience, Jamala Wildlife Lodge is certainly a wonderful place to stay. But let's have a look at what you might do while you're here. Balloon Aloft offers morning flights over Canberra with a champagne breakfast. This is really popular with marriage proposals, or people wanting that once-in-a-lifetime experience. The best thing about ballooning in Canberra is the launch site is actually right in the city. It's like 15 minutes from your hotel, from most hotels. So whilst in some other cities you might need to drive an hour out to the countryside to get on your hot air balloon, right here in Canberra you can do that in about 8 or 9 different launch destinations depending on the weather. Happy people having a balloon experience there. And of course, marriage proposals happen all the time. If you're staying at Jamala Wildlife Lodge, you're already at the National Zoo and Aquarium, and we have a range of luxury experiences there, which are the wild encounters. So this is the above and beyond the regular tour experience that you might have at the zoo, where you can handle a meerkat or hand feed one of the white lions. So the lions at the National Zoo are white, and that's certainly very different to other zoos that you might find around the world. Meerkats, other experiences, sun bears, and so on. Who doesn't want to see their child feeding a lion a piece of steak? So this is obviously very safe, feeding them through a hole, but the kids love that. This is the bathroom, looking out at the tigers. So you can wake up to the sounds of lions roaring while you sleep, or tigers purring whilst you bathe. Moving on to another luxury experience. This is a very accessible experience in the sense that a lot of people do it. The price point is reasonable if you're putting a group together or you just want to have a romantic time together. You can also get a hamper made up with local fare. On the lake, you can actually see in the picture we have the Canberra Region Visitors Centre, and it's here where you might go and buy all the things that you want for your own hamper. So local foods and from various providores around town, and local wines, because we are in a cool climate winery region. Of all of these wineries that we have, there are over 40 cellar doors that you can visit. There's also about 4 or 5 truffle farms. So you can do a truffle hunt at the Truffiers, the truffle farms, with a truffle dog, and a degustation to follow. So 7 or 8 course meal where this truffle has been built into the menu. It's very popular and it runs from June to September in the colder months. This is some of the experiences you can have at the wineries. We actually have quite a few local groups that will drive you around so that you can be a responsible drinker and trying wine at several wineries. The image on the left is one of my favourites because it's such a classic thing that you might do in Canberra, an outdoor fire overlooking the beautiful countryside at any of the wineries. Another luxury experience is, again, the above and beyond experience you might have at the Australian War Memorial. The War Memorial, similar to, say, the Imperial War Museum in London, however, our memorial is also a research centre, a museum, and a shrine of remembrance. And so when you go to the War Memorial, you can place a poppy on the wall, the roll of remembrance. And we do find this is very popular with UK visitors because of the shared history that we have between the UK and Australia. There are 2 experiences at the Australian War Memorial that take you behind the scenes with a curator, looking in depth at whatever history it is that you're fascinated by. So Soul of the Nation is one of them, and certainly a very popular one. Here's another image of our beautiful Australian War Memorial looking towards the Hall of Memory. Moving to the National Museum of Australia, they have 2 signature experiences. One is Big Histories, and another one is the Ultimate Museum Experience. So Big Histories is actually a behind-the-scenes tour with a curator, taking you to see some of the largest, I guess, stories in the Australian psyche. Those objects like the prototype Holden car, Farlap's heart, if you know your racing history, and so on. This is very, very popular and a very moving experience indeed, particularly those who are interested in Australian history or particularly like the way museums go about these sorts of experiences and stories. Moving to Australian Parliament House. The experience at Australian Parliament House of More Than Politics tour is a behind the scenes going through the corridors of power, if you like, that is reserved only for visiting dignitaries. It also includes a high tea, so you can have the high tea that is usually reserved for visiting dignitaries. That's also a wonderful experience. Australian Parliament House is a beautiful building. It actually has layers of stories in the architecture which together tell the story of Australia's democracy. And I love it. I'm not a big politics fan, but when I go to Parliament House and I do the tour and I experience this, the amount of thought that went into the architecture of this building is absolutely remarkable. Here's the high tea at Australian Parliament House. Certainly something to savour. Let's now look at some things that you might build into an itinerary. So a perfect period of time to spend in Canberra is 2 nights or 3 days. You might do a signature experience at the National Museum, having lunch at Raku, which has, it's a Japanese restaurant, very high-end Japanese restaurant. And then you might have an early evening hamper dinner on a self-drive GoBoat. GoBoat is an emissions-free, sustainable experience. It's an electric motor. You can't hear it. And Lake Burley Griffin is a beautiful place to move around on. GoBoat is actually a national product. However, they started in Canberra, such is the beauty of Lake Burley Griffin. On day 2, you might have your morning balloon ride with some champagne breakfast. Couples might choose to go and do a couple retreat at Jindy Eco Spa, which is at the Australian National Botanic Garden. Another beautiful spa treatment here is Aditum. Then you might head off to some of the wineries, but let Van du Vin take the wheel for you. And you might have a truffle degustation at any of the truffle farms, in particular Tarala Truffles and Mason Mist are lovely. Staying at Jamala Wildlife Lodge so that you can hear those lions purring during your sleep. On your last day, you're already there at Jamala, so you might as well do a wild encounter at the National Zoo and Museum. Moving on to Parliament House, where you could do some behind-the-scenes touring, and again later at the Australian War Memorial. A good time to visit the Australian War Memorial is the afternoon, because the last post ceremony happens at about 10 to 5, and that is where they honour one person who was lost in war. So it's a very moving experience. I thought I'd just cover off some accommodation quickly. So these are some 5-star accommodations. Jamala, Hyatt, Hotel Realm, Ovalo Nishi is a beautiful building. There's also the self-catering Nishi Apartments and Midnight Hotel. So, and some fine dining. So I will finish up because I think my time is ending. So if there are any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them. But have a lovely rest of the day.